Good morning, Wisconsin, America. This is chapter 2 of volume 1 of the Advisory Council Chronicles. And right here, looking at the capital of the state of Wisconsin, here in Madison. You know, I had to go get my cup of coffee, my salvation, if you will. And as I was walking in, I met an interesting man, had a very brief conversation. So I really came down here today to kind of start our conversation. But I just thought, like, that is going to be the theme for these chronicles, is there's going to be many twists and turns and chapters, because we value free speech, and, you know, we want to listen to everybody. So we just met a man named Victor, and he's a very interesting cat. I think he's got an interesting story to tell. I kind of cut him off before we got too deep. I had to get it on camera. So let's go on in and talk to Victor and see what Victor has to say. Hey, Victor.
Hi.
I'm back.
Hi.
All right, I gave everybody kind of the introduction of how we met, and essentially we're going to go ahead, and as you know, we're on camera. And do I have your permission to run the camera?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, real good. So, Victor, let's just start off with a little bit about yourself. Is that like your way of heating up?
No, it's my way of relaxing my joints. Fire has been used for thousands of years for what do you call purposes? Therapeutic purposes. I can take more pain than normal people, and plus it helps me with my joints. Low sodium or low oxygen.
That's really interesting. So, Victor, I know we started a conversation, and you know I put a pause on it because I thought you had some interesting things to say. So, you know, of course, I had to get my coffee. Mm-hmm. I just can't function without it. So there you go.
Your memory.
Oh yeah, then I need a lot more then as I'm getting older. So, Victor, what brings you to Madison, Wisconsin? How long have you lived here?
Well, actually, I was stuck on I-94 west going to North Dakota, and I ran out of gas, and what do you call them? State troopers. They actually brought me to Wisconsin.
So how long do you think you've been here?
Roughly 28 to 9 days so far.
All right,
maybe 10.
So where were you at before that?
I was in Sarasota, Florida. I had to move. Just say people weren't so kind to me, and the pressure of Florida was killing me, destroying my bones. People don't understand that Florida is surrounded by 3 bodies of water, which is the name for Hela. Florida is Hela, which is the Greek name for female giving birth. But also the three-headed dogs, herds from three-headed dogs represent the 3 bodies of water, and it's closer to the equator. So that's why you get subtropics, and you get the humidity, and the pressure gets to you. And since I'm born with hypersensitivity, see, the thing is that it affects my joints. So I knew I had to leave, and I knew summer was coming. I always know when the weather's changing. I knew. No more than a plane or birds fly to the south. They go by instinct like me. I have keen senses. I was born that way.
So now it's like it's interesting. You come back north. You've made your migration back.
Yeah,
to
you
back
can
to
say
north.
it that way. Yeah.
That's really cool. So the reason I stopped and actually engaged you is you said you felt like nobody was listening, and you had a story to tell, and boy, talk about serendipity. I could relate to that. Do you keep up with politics at all?
Politics are headaches. You shouldn't use politics when you have integrity, morals, and ethics. But when you have moralities and humility, which all fall to category of honor, that means when you have honor, then you realize everything is in honor. But people tend to forget honor is no substance. It's within. It doesn't take a badge. It doesn't take PhD. It doesn't take a bachelor degree or GED. Besides, paper doesn't mean anything.
So let me ask you this, because that's interesting. Kind of fits into the theme of what we're telling America here. Is do you trust politicians? No.
Well, politicians. If politicians truly cared, they would be telling the truth about the people of history. How many blacks do you think they know that blacks fought in the Confederate side and actually get paid with money when they were slaves? Well, they rather hear bad news, just like it was back then, it is today. Bad news sells more.
So you're talking about blacks. I mean, do you think politicians are for black people, or are they against black people?
No, actually, it's not really about blacks at all. Some people say it is, but see, the thing is, it's about power. Just like the old saying I always believed in: when two colonies go to war, one side wins. Dictate how history is written, because knowledge is power. But it's a form of manipulation. It's no more than taking pieces of paper out of a history book and renumbering them. And think that nobody's the wiser. That's manipulation. Monopolize, that comes from the word manipulate. When you manipulate, you change. It's like the word fuck. It actually comes from the word Latin, means fool, or fucker. Motherfucker means actually master. Mother's master. Fucker means manipulator. You get together, you get master manipulator. See, a lot of words people don't know, they don't use today. It's like the people still think today that apocalypse means death. Well, actually it means change, because death means change. If things didn't decay, you wouldn't have anything, no crops, because there wouldn't be no soil. See, you have to embrace death in order to embrace life. I have learned on my own that death is the most beautiful thing, because holiness is the same thing as peacefulness. Making one with yourself is seeing the bigger picture. Steve said, "Go, really wise man."
Well, I'll tell you, I just started to think you're a really wise man. Where did you get your knowledge?
Everywhere. Yeah. See, knowledge is not based on what you're told. Knowledge is not based on what you think. Knowledge is not based on what you know. Knowledge is based on what's around you. Always has and always will. See, the thing is, if you're in the area that's around you, and it's also in you, and you're in it. So therefore, knowledge is around you, even in you, even in me.
I like that. Did you go to college at all?
No. Why go to college when, see, wisdom and knowledge has no age. It really doesn't. That's why you never told to learn something new. I mean, you go to school, even colleges, they still teach the same thing over and over. The thing is, you never too old to learn something new.
I know
like
that.
Ignorance brings chaos. That's why ignorance is bliss. So bliss.
Wow, that's very profound.
Well, it's pretty simple, really.
So, do you like philosophy?
Oh, yes, I do.
Who's your favorite philosopher?
Socrates.
Tell me a little bit about your take on Socrates.
Socrates, I can relate to Socrates. Socrates was a man that dealt with a lot of pain and anguish, even during the time of the Greeks. But yet, he also had a lot of time on his hands to think, and he also preached. Meaning for preach is teach. Tomato, tomato, mean the same thing. And when he taught, before he started teaching, he learned on his own, like me. He most likely had autism. Most autistic people don't realize that a lot of them are unable to speak. And they never were able to speak. Even some autistic people can barely speak. I'm one of the lucky few that are able to speak. And they're also more than telepathic. It's one of the reasons why. But people don't think it's possible, you know. And airplanes, they said it wouldn't fly either.
Well, I'll tell you, autism's very, it's a part of my life, only in that, without getting too much into detail, you know, we have an autistic child in our family, and he is the most beautiful boy, you know, and he has, you know, very severe autism, and that you're saying you have autism, but yet you can, you know, effectively communicate. I would argue that, and we'll call him Jake. Jake is probably just as smart as you, but he's got that level of autism that he can't really express everything.
I'm the same way sometimes. See, autistic people use more part of their brain than normal people do, because their brain activity is far more active.
You know, so
a lot more active.
I just think there's a, you know, when we first started talking, and I told you I was going to listen to your story and I was going to share your story, and I'm just glad, you know, that I took the time to stop and talk to you, and we're going to continue this conversation. So, Socrates, or as my friends in Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. I don't know if you ever saw that movie. They call them Socrates.
Socrates, yeah.
So, like in history, you definitely are very astute historian. What is probably your the event in history that you look to, that you could relate to, and that you feel that you best understand, and probably just your favorite moment in history? Can you share that?
For this country, George Washington. George Washington was an interesting fellow. He believed in honor, he believed in integrity, he believed in selfless acts of sacrifice, and he didn't believe in becoming a president. He didn't want to be president. He knew president was got to be the wrong thing to do. It's got to be doomed before it started. See, a lot of people don't realize, don't even know. History is known to be altered by the ones that tell it. Oh, see, that's not right. If you're going to tell the truth about history, tell the truth, but a lot of people don't realize, or they do realize, especially politicians, they don't really care about telling the truth very much, either for manipulation purposes or because the truth has a lot of sting into it. Well, that's part of life. You know, truth has pain, but pain's not there to hurt you. It's there to get your attention. But nevertheless, the pain is there to see the truth. You know, no more than understanding that when someone dies, there's something that could have been invented, but if you can't invent it, something you have to accept, because there's only two answers for meaning of life, and that's accepting and discovering, because you can't invent it for you unless you discover first. And when you discover, and you start accepting, but then again, you have to accept or discover. Discover takes awareness. Intelligence means being aware of oneself's existence. And without seeing a bigger picture, it's because you're blind. Fear of death. When you're in fear of death, that means you lack discipline. I'm not saying it to be a dick, I'm saying it because it clouds your judgment. When you cloud your judgment, it's because you lack of understanding. That's because you were not taught right. When history is written by the ones who rather tell it by their own way, then they don't know too much. It's not right. Like I said, when two colonies go to war and one side wins, it dictates how history is written. It's knowledge is power. But see, the thing is, it affects everyone. No more domino effect. It affects, eventually, it affects everyone, including myself.
Wow.
That's a bigger picture. People need to start seeing it.
You know, I have an I have an uncle, God rest his soul. Let's just call him Uncle Ted, and you know, just this conversation reminds me a little bit of conversations I used to have with him, and you know, back then, it didn't really make sense, and it seems to make a lot more sense as I get older. How old are you, Victor?
43.
All right, really good.
Just turned 43, actually.
Where would you say that you lived at most of your life?
Well, when my father was in the Navy, we traveled when we were young, or when I was young, when my father was alive. In Texas, living is actually, people think living is where you lay your head. Home is where your heart is. And when you live with inside. So when you travel everywhere. Just like in Lucy, you know, they said, moving without moving. Because time and space and matter and gravity are one and the same, three of eternity.
Wow. So, you know, again, you just amaze me. And maybe, you know, when we put this out on YouTube, you know, there's going to be some people that don't get you, but I'm not one of them. I wouldn't be spending this time with you if I didn't think I got you. Let's fast forward in history here to kind of like the last 30, 40 years. You know, it's my contention that we have a really corrupt government. And
indeed, this country was not supposed to be our Rome, or excuse me, not supposed to be another Rome or another Babel. This country is supposed to be the next Greece, especially when Latin comes from Greece, democracy comes from Greece, and Greece comes from Samaria. Samaria was the grandfather of democracy. A lot of people don't realize that, but a lot of Greeks do. A lot of historians, real historians, especially scholars. The scholars are more in tune with history because they have a great passion for history, especially when it comes to truth, because truth is life. Life is honor. Honor is everything.
So let's talk about this. You know, maybe we'll just go back to. Are you familiar with the Great Society and essentially like Lyndon Johnson and some of the things that were promised, what was going to happen to America?
Well, speaking about promises, you know, when you write a piece of paper saying this is what you're going to do, this is my word, I'm going to do that. And if I put that promise, piece of paper on fire, what good is your word then? Word comes from within yourself, is your honor. You say you're going to do something, you should do it. But I understand, you know, shit happens. You know, people get sidetracked and you forget. I forget my name, my first name twice in my life. Not something I like to brag about, but it's something, you know, my people can relate to. Because, you know, I can remember, I don't understand letters or numbers. Even though they're one and the same, but I don't understand it. But I can understand quantum physics and astrophysics, like, no problem, no big deal.
So, wow, we could have a whole separate, because I love science.
I mean, I understand telekinesis, you know, it's a form of, you know, matter moving with energy, because matter's in the form of energy. You know, I have sonar, and I use telekinesis to help with my sonar. I use, you know, I see things before they happen. See, like for example, you heard that, right?
Yes.
But you also felt that.
Yes.
The shock wave and the sound waves are one and the same. It's energy. When you find it over there, you find it over here, it differs because it starts to lose its intensity of sound wave or energy. And therefore you can feel it. It's no more than strings and cans. So here, tighter it is, better you can hear it. It's the vibrations of energy comes from everywhere. You can sense and feel it no more than elephants using low pitch frequencies for gigahertz. Same thing with telepathy. Telepathy is a another form of communication. It's gigahertz that most people cannot hear with the naked ear, unless you are telepathic or using a machine. I don't like using machines because I don't like people using machines because, you know, like I said, great power comes great responsibility as well, not to you, but other people. Sandy was right.
I think it stands for everybody. So
I agree.
And maybe when I come back to Madison, again, we could continue the science part of that conversation. We could even do that off camera because I just find that fascinating. So with regards to promise,
Too much.
Oh, that's all right.
Let me go. Well,
So with regards to promises that have been made to us as Americans, I mean, do you feel that the power structure, because it's a collective promise, made in our name. We signed a check, we the people. Our representatives told us this is what they were going to do, and everything was going to be great. And how do you think that worked out?
well, let me put it this way. Like I was talking about George Washington. George Washington, like I said, didn't believe in the presidency. See, in order to run a country, you have to have integrity, which is doing the right thing even though someone's not, which also falls in the category of selfless acts of sacrifice. You have to have moralities. You have to have humility. Moralities must be always to be debated along no more than humility. You have to have structure within. You have to have character. You have to have a construct of what's around you, being aware. That's what intelligence means, being aware of oneself's existence. Without that, how can you know anything else first? You have to know this first before you know anything else. That's what intelligence means, being aware of oneself's existence. That's what you have to know. Imperfect basically means the perception of one's own reality.
So as it relates to...
I'm not finished, sorry.
That's all right.
Now, see, when George Washington, not all the founding fathers believed in this, but some founding fathers believed in the presidency, which is stupid. There's a Caesar in Rome, but it was a former president.
Yes.
Now, see, in order to run a country, you have to have nobility blood. Because it's about the people, not about you. Besides, wasn't other people, you wouldn't have to lead yourself. But at the same time, you have to think about yourself because you can't carry someone with a broken leg. No more than understanding how to help other people. You have to understand the quantum side of it. You have to understand that. And see, George Washington knew that. See, it's about monarchy. You can have a democracy with the monarchy. Leonidas had democracy, which comes from Greece. Now, some of the founding fathers didn't want it. Some of the founding fathers did. But George Washington and some of his buddies know that they wanted to make sure the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, and the Declaration of Independence wasn't going to be soiled and ruined, which they've been trying to remake in their own image, which is not right. Now, they want to make sure it's got to be honest, or they're going to get a black eye and a busted nose, because they know they're going to go for the presidency anyway. So, and they knew it was going to be done to begin with, and they were right, and I agree with them. I studied history very, very well. History is part of philosophy. Being aware of such compelling arguments about society and the future of how it's going to unfold is no more than understanding playing poker. When you play it, you understand it. No more than understanding chess. When you understand the principle of it, you don't need to play chess. It's to understand the principle of it. Same thing with monarchy, politics. Politics is a form of a game to them. And it's not a game because it affects the people. See, President George Washington didn't want to be a president. He didn't want to be elected, but he knew that people wouldn't listen because there would be differences. And he knew that very well because, see, George Washington not only was a captain, but he also was a general, but he also was a drill sergeant, 3 of the Trinity, indeed. Now, he wanted to make sure that people would have what they need, but yet he had to join a militia, make a militia. Sure. That's where the military comes from, the militia. See, the militia was made up of ironsmiths, farmers, tailors, regular Joes, and they're trying to separate by using the word military. Why? Change it. Because they want to make sure you confuse it. It's like the word castration. Castration, believe it or not, has nothing to do with testicle removal. Well, like I said, it goes back to the time when two colonies go to war. One side when dictates how history is written. Well, dictators, they make sure, or they have slavery. Well, see, testicles not only produce testosterone, but they also produce, they help with the memory, and they also help with thought. And if you remove them, it makes excellent slaves. So therefore, it's about exile. Exile is a form of slavery. Or if, when you ignore somebody, it's a form of exile. So it's actually about being fired, really. Because when you fire somebody of a job, it's a form of exile. See, words people don't really understand what words mean, because, like I said, when other times for so many years, for thousands of years, changed the meaning of words just because they're for their own benefit, their own favor, the people lose. And people get confused, because that means that the people have not been told the truth. It changes the factor of truth when the truth becomes distorted and becomes like playing telephone. When you play telephone, eventually it comes out something different.
So let me ask you this: if you could fire or terminate the services of like 3 people in America, so I can give you the power, the remote control, if you will. It's going to be politicians, bankers. It could be, I could even take it worldwide, because I do think that there's a corrupt shadow government of the world, if you will. You call it the cabal, the new world order. That's where I play at. If you could fire like 3 people or call them out, okay, and indict them just by your very words, I'd like to know who they were, or who they would be.
Well, honor. Well, when it comes to honor, it's about doing the right thing. You know someone's not. When 2 wrongs don't make it right, you know it. Now, when you fire somebody, you exile them. When you exile them, there's no more than getting a sword and serving their head. They're not going to learn nothing when they're dead. When you exile them, they either have nothing. Excuse me. They have nothing. And they still learn nothing. Firing them does not do anything. Killing them does not do anything. And jails and prisons do not do anything. Locking them up and walking away and hoping for the best is no more than sweeping dirt underneath the rug. No, wisdom does. Wisdom comes from awareness. That's where, like I said, knowledge means being aware of oneself's existence. Awareness. Wisdom comes from awareness. Knowledge comes from awareness. Wisdom is everything, just like honor. And if you exile them, they're not going to learn anything, and those retaliate, and those cause more problems. So therefore, teaching them the truth may give them the insight.
So let's go with that, okay? We're going to give you the power of 3 people, but let's just start with 1, because the world's longest journey starts at the first step. Is who, if you could talk to 1 person into that camera right now and call out their bullshit and expose them, who would it be?
Well, I can't really say that, because I don't know all the facts. I believe innocent and proven guilty.
Okay.
Totally did. Now, I'm telepathic. Born that way. I'm very powerful. In other words, I'm very astute to that. But unlike government agencies, they don't respect privacy. I do. People have a right, especially in their own mind. They should have their own mind, their own dignity, their own privacy in their mind is their own. No more than making up to their woman with their shades down. They get the doors locked. They have it for a reason. They want their privacy. No more than your own mind.
So what I guess I'm getting at, and I don't want to get caught into semantics, because I want to put some names to the faces and to the philosophies of which you speak. I think we're in agreement that we have a corrupt thing going on here in America. I mean, who are some of the conspirators? I mean, that you suspect.
I don't know all the facts. I can't say that they could be being used as a patsy. They could be used as a bargaining chip. People can be used as bargaining chips no more than a thing like gold. See, value has nothing to do with money. Vapor and metal does not exist in nature. See, measure of oneself's worth, measure of oneself's character, that's the definition of honor. See, it has nothing to do with value of metal and paper. When paper comes from trees, animal fat, and coins of metal come from the ground. And you say it's worth something when life itself has a shelf life. Does that make any sense?
No, it makes perfect sense. So, and I think we're getting someplace here. What do you think's wrong with America today? Like, is it fixable?
Of course it's fixable, but it's not really fixed, should I say, because I don't like using the word fix. Fix is like the word manipulate.
Would dialectic perhaps be a better word? Discourse?
I would say honor of travel. Because honor and travel is the honor way of saying things and meeting people. When you meet somebody, you teach them honor. The honor is noted within themselves, and they feel and they understand. So therefore, eventually they will tell other people, and they travel to other places, and eventually, it spreads. Instead of cancer, which by the way can be cured by cannabis. And it's funny. The FDA, pharmaceutical companies make more money off the sick and the dying, and they donate money to the FDA, but it's not a donation; it's a payoff to look the other way.
So let's go with that then. So would it be because you opened a door here, and I like the door that you opened. Like the attorney, lawyer, wannabe in me, we're going to pursue a line of questioning here.
Well, just think about it. How many people have died from cancer?
My mom.
That could have been cured from cannabis when it's been there for a long time.
My mom, my dad, my uncle.
Honors everything. They did not tell the truth. Kept it from people.
An uncle that died when he was very young. My mom's younger brother. Cancer is very emotional for me, and actually I don't do reporting for a living. It's something I actually just started. I've always had
Start somewhere.
we're going to start somewhere, and I'll tell you, and there's some people who are going to hear this and they're going to know who I'm talking to. I work with cancer for a living in the respect that I sell insurance, and I sell cancer insurance, and I sell health insurance, and I sell life insurance. So I deal with death and cancer every day. So when someone...
How can you actually put a price tag on health when health itself has a shelf life? How can you do that? It makes no sense.
Yeah, and it's tough, and part of where I come in is the calls that I get is when people have cancer, and they have a policy with me. I get that call, and we may have talked much like we're talking about 5-6 years ago, and it's like in a cafeteria at a company, kind of like the Affleck type stuff, and I should buy one of those cancer plans. You never know. And so one day, 5, 6, 7, 8 years later, I get that call, and it's like, I've been diagnosed with cancer. And that cancer policy sold me. I guess I need it. And we go through the process of filing a claim.
You don't need a cancer plan.
Well,
see, cannabis has cannabinoids in it. People think when you smoke cannabis you're getting high. Well, actually not getting high. You know what it's doing to you when you smoke it? What it does is giving you oxygen. Cannabis produces far more oxygen than regular trees and sucks in more carbon monoxide poisoning. That's why it's a natural detox too. And see what happens is your blood vessels, your capillaries, your arteries are opening up. That means all your blood cells are going in, including your brain. And you're having a little seizure. That's because your body's trying to get used to something it's not used to, which is a lot of oxygen. Over 2,600 years ago, maybe 500-700 years ago, oxygen level was a lot higher. Yeah. So when you have cannabis that puts inside you, you feel better. And you can make plastics that 10 times stronger than steel. You can make paper. You can make clothing. In fact, the American Revolution, they used hemp material and it lasts longer, and bugs do not eat it. It lasts longer and is more durable. Cannabis actually derives from the word cannabis, which is also means fibers. You know, it's something that people need to know, but yet these people, when I say these people, I mean government agencies, not just I'm talking about all. How many people that could have been known about this been saying that it doesn't do anything? Well, you know, when you lie about something, remember, people never say or do anything without a reason, no matter how ludicrous or logical it may be. There's always a reason, but it's like a dirty car salesman. Think about it. What's in it for them?
Yes.
Think about it.
Yeah, what's in it for them? So just to wrap up, just so I don't leave something open-ended, so two things. One, I guess just to...
Not all politicians are evil. Not all of them are bad. Somebody actually trying to help, but, you know, just like cops. When they put on that badge, really hard to tell the difference.
So, and I would agree with that. So just to wrap up with regards to the cancer insurance, because this is what I do for a living, so I can't leave that unaddressed. I'm going to take you at your word with regards to maybe how we could prevent or cure cancer. Where I come in is I have to deal with the aftermath of it. The chemotherapy, things like that. People missing work and losing their homes. That's where I come in, and that's where we talked about this earlier when we talked about names. My name is Edward, and if you look up what that name means, it means protector. And I've always taken that very seriously and taken that to heart. So I don't know if that was meant to be or I just made it to be, but I don't think it's coincidence that my name is Edward.
when Ben Franklin used a flag or a kite to go up in the air and had the key on it, he wasn't trying to commit suicide. He was trying to figure out how things work, really. But he wanted to make sure what he was doing had a theory of possibilities to, equal out his theory.
So now
he saw the bigger truth. That's how curiosity, knowledge just comes about, figuring things out. But unfortunately, sometimes discovering sometimes takes a toll, even in people's lives. But when someone's far more wiser or more aware, maybe you want to. The thing is, unfortunately, people rather listen to someone that has a PhD, but see, wisdom and paper are two separate substances. If you listen to a piece of paper and I listen to someone that's wise, well, that's their choice. I don't interfere with free will.
Well, it's, probably part of the reason I never finished my college degree is, and I'm telling a story too, and there's somebody else that is a friend of mine, and we're telling a story, and it's going to be an interesting story. Maybe one or two people will be interested, I don't know, but like yourself, we just tell it. So I do want to pick up on a couple things before my battery dies, and then we kind of wrap it up. And let's just check here, because we've been on for about 38 minutes, and which is fine. We go on for hours. It's just the technology is not going to agree with us. Pharmaceuticals. I want to go with that. As you know, the industry contributes millions and millions and millions to people who
make more pills than our people on the planet.
Well, yeah, and these are the people who contribute to the people who make laws, regulations, FDA, whether that marijuana is legal or illegal, whatever. Okay, so some people think it should be legal. Some we're not going to argue that. What do you think about those in government that take money from the pharmaceutical industry? I would argue that it's blood money.
It is, because when politicians, like I said before, just like cops, not all cops are bad. Because I believe honor is the most important. Because without the honor, other people's lives and their livelihood and their own futures would be at stake. And a lot of cops that believe in such things do the same thing as I believe in my own heart. But unfortunately, a lot of cops that do bad and wretched things make other cops look bad and makes them hard to do their job. And because of that, people inside the United States, fear and hate them, and it makes some jobs even worse. And that's not good.
It's a vicious cycle, because I understand both sides. I was a victim of police brutality when I was in college, and I'm white.
Mm-hmm.
So I could understand when it happens, because anyone who has power
Great power comes with responsibility.
Exactly.
Speaking about power, the difference between a weapon and a tool, simply put, is all about your intention. So basically, man, woman, child, and beast alike all have the capability of being the weapon and the tools. Basically, what you do will define you. Okay?
Oh yeah, I believe it. Let me ask you this, or I'll say this, and then you could opine on it. Is as you know, there's some presidential candidates who are roaming the state as we speak. I don't know if you're aware of it.
I'm very aware.
And the thing is,
waste of time, waste of money.
But let me ask you this. So if I'm a voter, okay, and I take it you don't vote.
Voting does not do anything.
Okay, but
action does.
But so, and I'm a believer that I think the action is actually more important than voting. I'm looking at all these different candidates. We got candidate X and Y, on this side, and we got all these guys on this side. If I'm looking at, there's a website called opensecrets.org. And essentially I can look in there and I can look at where all the money comes from to each of these candidates and to the political action committees that support them. So let's just say we had the computer here and we're going to look at the pharmaceutical industry. And let's just say there's 1, 2, or 3 candidates who stood out as receiving more money than maybe somebody else. So we'll just call her candidate X. And maybe we'll call this guy from Texas, we'll call him candidate Y. So let's just say we'll pick 2, Hillary Clinton and Ted Cruz. And we Google them, okay, and we go to opensecrets.org and we find out, okay, this is a hypothesis, so just hear me out. My hypothesis is that if we Google these 2 people, is that we're going to see that they're accepting money directly or indirectly from the pharmaceutical industry. So even though you don't vote, if you as a scientist did that research and we start with a hypothesis, we apply the scientific method, and then we come and we find out is like, okay, if this, then that. So we got Hillary Clinton accepts a ton of cash from big pharmaceutical or big pharma, and let's just say it's Ted Cruz. Maybe it's
not just the pharmaceutical companies about money. They also make money off of stocks and bonds. Now,
banks
money off the sick and the dying. You also make money off from the stocks and bonds. No more than the Nazis made the gold teeth fillings from the Jews before they put them in the fire, living or dead. Does not matter. When there is so many ways to cure so many ailments and they choose not to tell the truth to the people, that's called genocide.
So what do you think about people that may take that type of blood money to fuel their political endeavors? Does that make you feel good or trust government?
Well, would you trust a piranha to give you a blowjob?
So what do you think of that? I mean, what is that as a commentary on what is like?
Well, I find it really.
How do we fix this?
Well, first of all, like I said, when you look at the bigger picture, the more than a dirty car salesman, they always want something in return, no matter if it's a manipulation or a monopoly. When Teddy Roosevelt, what an interesting fellow. Teddy Roosevelt is my second favorite. Now, the reason is because he had a hard-on for passion. Now, hard-on, what I mean is not by penis. Hard-on basically means excitement, enjoyment, something that makes you feel good within. Now, when you have a compassion for the truth, you have a compassion for honor, you have a passion for other people. When you have a passion for other people, then you have a compassion for the truth, because also the truth will affect you as well. When you treat other people, that's going to affect you as well, more than the Aborigines throwing a boomerang coming back to you. It's always going to come back to you, good or bad. Expecting that, you should always. And see, when you look at the bigger picture, there's no more looking at the aftermath before it happens, no more watching the domino effect before it actually ends. Seeing that is seeing the bigger picture. See, that's what I do. I always calculate in so many different ways, about possibilities. Now, when you look at the bigger picture, like say pharmaceutical companies, they make their money off the sick and the dying. There's cure for cancer there for a long time. You can. I've been studying it over 30 years. I know helping people is not just helping them, but also saving their lives. Good people suffer and die when those who do nothing. Those who do nothing are just as guilty as those who do nothing at all. If you use money and you realize you're not thinking about the people, you're thinking about yourself. Because money does not hold you up, pick you up. Money will not give you a highway maneuver. Money will not hold you when you're scared in a thunderstorm. People will. Living life will. Use money to use just to focus on the bigger picture for societies. The society itself loses. Society is the people. You can't have a country without the people. People are the country. No more the system. We the people, not we the fucking government. Besides, the word govern comes from the word govern yourselves. Governing yourselves is the most important. See, when you look at the bigger picture, then you find out you're not the only cat on the block. You know, because without other people. But unfortunately, people use money to manipulate or monopolize. Just like Teddy Roosevelt tried to stop. When so many companies that were trying to go bankrupt, and by shutting them down. So it was a contest of who can have the most power. That's what it was back then. Back then it was considered multimillionaires, equivalent to today's multi-billionaires of today.
Yes.
And see, that's what caused the depression in the 1930s. And see, that's what Teddy Roosevelt had to want to put an end to it. Because when he swore that when he become president, he wanted to put this to stop because it was affecting everyone. Sure enough, the government became what he tried to stop. How revelational, huh? How sad, too.
I will tell you in summary, Victor, a few things. Number one.
It almost seems like Teddy Roosevelt wasted his time.
No, I think I'm a believer in dialectic. I'm a believer in a synthesis and a thesis and an antithesis. I too am a philosopher. I'm a political scientist. I believe in love and free speech.
Love is the definition of love is unity.
So,
money can never replace that.
So I will tell you that a few things here, and these are my conclusions, is this. Number one, I'm a better person for having met you today.
Well, I mean, I'm not trying to impress anybody.
And I know you're not.
I'm just trying
That's
to
the
be
beauty
myself.
of it. That's the insane beauty of it. We met by chance, and there's a particular candidate that I actually adore because he's very unscripted, and
I find funny you mentioned that since women are the mother of our race. And talking about honor, you know, it's funny is that Joan of Arc was also one of my favorite heroes. She liberated their people, but she got burned at the stake for it. Who did that? The church. Church is religion. I mean, if religion is rule. If a religion wasn't rule, Spanish Inquisition would have never have happened, and Joan of Arc wouldn't have been burned at the stake for liberating a people. Don't get me wrong. The church has changed their ways quite a bit. But if the church does not tell the truth about history, but what needs to be done, have they truly changed their way?
yeah, didn't the church one time told us that the Earth was the center of the universe?
I don't know that. I can't say that.
I thought so. There was this fellow named Copernicus, and there's a story here and there. Because as I get older and I need more coffee, my memory fails me sometimes. But I'm a historian at art. I have a friend that
I've heard of it, but I'm not sure that's for a fact.
So I have a good friend, and we're kind of on the outs right now. But Thornton, you'll appreciate this. Is I have a fascination with history. And what did they say? Something about like some of the learning from history, we're going to repeat it, and it's like we fail to learn it from it, and we're just bound to repeat it.
Hillary Clinton has a daughter and it's a family of her own, but as far as I understand, I can't have children because pharmaceutical companies made me sterile. It's not good. I'm not sure if it's true, but last time I checked, observation is logical, so the possibility I am. And see, there's no such thing as mentally ill disorders. It's just misunderstood.
So let's go with that, because we're going to wrap up here. But so you brought her name up, Hillary Clinton. Do you believe that she has our best interest in heart?
I believe Joan of Arc had more interest in her people than Hillary Clinton could ever have. Possibility. She would believe in honor. She believed in selfless acts of sacrifice. There's a reason why I have such adoring feelings for Joan of Arc.
Oh, yeah, I get it. Joan of Arc's actually one of my mom, God rest her soul. She died 3 years ago. This past Thursday. She actually died on Easter Sunday, and that's just a whole story in itself. Because I do look at signs and omens and things like that, and like yourself.
Everything's connected.
It's everything is
Remember,
connected.
spirituality is energy.
And I believe in energy. I believe, was it the, for every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction.
Opposite reaction, yeah.
Yeah, so it's, that's cool. So a few things here. Number one is I'm a better person for having met you today. We met by chance. We met by accident. I wasn't really meant to be here today.
Everything happens for a reason. No more than the wind blows the clouds for the sun to open, or the clouds to open for the sun to show. I'm dyslexic. I see things backwards.
No, that's fine. So let me ask you this about you personally. Where do you lay your head at night?
Right now, I've been staying at shelters, and some of the people that treat people, even the homeless, see, money does not define the people. People define the people. Fuck the names of America. America is only a name. Name does not define the people. The people define the people.
So if they're
because without the people, there would be nothing to define.
So let me ask you this, Victor. And I'm not making it.
Because the people are the most important. The name only describes what the people are. It doesn't describe who and what they are. Who and what they are is the people that describe who they are.
And I'm not making any promises here, but I just want to ask a question. Do you want a home? Do you want one place that you could call home?
I would love to have a log cabin. I would like to live in North Dakota. I would like to see all the Native Americans in this country stop committing suicide because they like the old saying goes, give me liberty or give me death. But I call it the same thing but different. What's the point of living? You have no peace. And I agree. I'm half Indian myself, Native American that is.
As I am.
And I don't
not as much as Elizabeth Warren, but I trace my roots there. Let me ask you this, and again, without making any promises, okay? If some way, somehow, I could help raise the money to get you that log cabin, or
I would like to see people not legalized or illegal, just have the cannabis, have the truth. And you can regulate it, not by law, but regulate it as through foods and drinks. Because what it does, that's why it gives you munchies. Because what it does, it regulates your metabolism. When somebody has high metabolism like myself, especially in the winter, you need vitamin D milk because you need the fat. When you use cannabis, it's good for you because it helps you with your stomachs. It does so much, and it helps me, gives me the oxygen. Because I was born low sodium and low iron. Iron is the oxygen. I need that.
So here's what I'm asking.
And I'd like to have two female Rottweilers. It'd be nice.
So Victor, and we're not talking about charity here too, by the way. If I could help get you a job, if I could help get you that log cabin.
I'd like to have a teaching job, but fortunately people rather listen to pieces of paper.
So if I could help you tell your story and share your knowledge, And again, with regards to cannabis, I don't know what the laws in the state of North Dakota are. You might want to consider Colorado.
Everybody should have it.
Well,
More than the air you breathe in your lungs.
Hey, you know what? I am a believer in self-determinism. I believe that we have an inalienable right of freedom of association.
Well,
and
think about it. How many people have to use other types of drugs to supplement for something that they need? And when cannabis does so much, and I know somebody, I'm not going to say his name, but he's a good guy, but yet he uses other things that are not so good, and if he was using cannabis, it would actually do better. It's not fair. It causes more problems if you don't.
So this is the come to Jesus moment in our relationship. It's lasted all of about an hour.
Oh, yeah.
So number one, we're not talking about charity, but I'm really good at what I do.
I think about more about your people.
So and I want to help you share that story. So if I could get you a job
That'd be nice.
that you can buy your own home, so we're not talking charity, because the thing is about the homeless, it's not always about saving them. Some are actually
teaching them.
Some are actually okay with being homeless. I know some are.
But none of them are.
Well,
if you're a homeless, would you truly be happy?
I don't know. So here's my thing, and this is why I said that, and here's why I asked a question. If I can deliver what I'm talking about, would you accept it?
Well, could you accept it? The fact is, if you don't, it'll affect other people. That's why I say honor is everything. And if you want to, that's fine. If not, that's okay.
So when we get off camera, my biggest concern is, is how I could keep in touch with you. So I'm going to give you my phone number.
I don't have no phone.
I know, but if you want to get a hold of me, if you have my phone number, somebody will help you get a hold of me.
That'd be nice.
And we'll figure out if you could commit to staying at the same shelter for a little bit.
Well, there's only 3 shelters. You go to one shelter, and they go bring you to shelter, send you to shelter 2.
So would you say for the next 30 days you'll be hanging around? Like if I come here to Madison and
I have a card, and I have to find a parking space, and I got to pay for a parking space. And certain times, the hours I can't do. See, the ones that make the rules are the ones that benefit the most, and the people lose. Only the ones that benefit, the ones that make it. That's not good.
So if we help you get a job that allows you to tell your story, we make sure your car is operable and that you have a home. We'll leave that as a blank check.
I would like to get a job. I'd like to get a place here, but 8 to 6 or something. And then you have to park, and there's no parking.
So if I get you some help,
yeah, that'd be nice.
All right, and I will. Whatever it is, it may be a little bit. But I'm a big dreamer. I have big dreams.
Dreams is good.
Yeah, you shoot for the stars. It's like, hey, if we get halfway there, it's still much higher than where we're at today.
Dreams are like actions. It's like tools. If I use a hammer to smash someone's skull in, they become road hamburger. Or I use that same hammer instead of using it to kill somebody, I build a house and give it to someone that needs it. Like I said, the difference between a tool and a weapon simply it's all about your intentions. We all are the weapon and the tool. What we do and what we say, what we mean to do, actually do only. Because when you say something, you're doing. So it'll define you.
So there's no strings attached to this, and this is totally unrelated, but some would argue it's related. And just be honest with me. As it stands today, are you a Christian?
Of course. Christian basically means spirituality. See, Jesus actually is Latin for, I'm not mistaken, Latin for justice. And Hebrew, Christ means anointed one, and Hebrew is anointed one, and Latin means chosen one. So you have to be, in order to be anointed, you have to be chosen first. But still, it's not the people that chose; it's actually God Himself.
So, would I?
God's everywhere, like in the Bible, you know.
So would I offend you if, in closing here, we could share a prayer together?
Sure.
All right. So, dear Jesus, boy, you work in ways that are just beyond comprehension. And whatever we think our will is done and that we have control over our lives, we are sorely and sadly mistaken. Lord, you have a plan, and you are the gardener, and you know your garden, and you lead us, and you use good and bad for your objectives. It is your will that be done, Lord, and I just thank you today on Sunday here in Madison, Wisconsin. The morning in Wisconsin, as we're calling it, for bringing Victor and I together. And I just pray that you look out over Victor and myself as we travel, is in search of truth, learning and sharing. And Lord, I just ask that you look out over Victor. Victor's living a little dangerously right now, and we'd like to get him a home. Whatever that means, Lord, whatever you choose to bless, whether that's he owns a home or he rents an apartment, has a job, whatever it is, Lord, it is your will. We just ask that you brought us together, Lord, and if your word is true, you will bless this, and you will make it grow into something much bigger, not to glorify us, Lord, but as a testimony to your goodness, your justice, your forgiveness, the everlasting life. Victor talked about death, and where one door opens, the other is open to you, Lord. We are all sinners. None of us are perfect, because if we were, we wouldn't need you. And we need a Savior. I know, I trust that I speak for Victor, is we thank you for sending your son here to save us and speak on our behalf, delivering justice, but at the same time giving us forgiveness and everlasting life. Lord, we love you, and we just ask that however imperfect that we are, that you just work in our lives for good. When we stumble, you pick us up, you clean us up off. Lord, it was you that said forgiveness is not something that happens 7 times. It's something that happens 7 times, 70 times. And it wasn't to mean what it means in mathematics. It was emblematic of infinity, Lord, is that we are your prodigal sons, and we sin, and yet you love us and you take us back day after day, sin after sin. And Lord, we ask for forgiveness for our sins that we've committed, and we just ask that you work in our hearts to be better people. For myself, as I go across America and just really listen to everybody like Victor, and just tell the truth, Lord, and just be an honest broker for what is good. And please, for whatever it's worth, bless me in my intention, and it's what's on my heart to help Victor here. And reward us, Lord, for having faith. Let us be a testimony to what you stand for. It is this we ask of you, our Savior, Lord Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Well, without life, we have no awareness. Living is part of awareness. Awareness is living. See, that if we don't see the bigger picture, society will crumble like bullets made out of crackers.
Well, I promise you, Victor, we're going to go out, we're going to learn the truth, we're going to expose the truth. You're going to be a part of that.
That would be nice. But see, the thing is, you got to be careful when you open a can of worms. Death may only just happen to other people, also to you.
Wow.
So you need to watch your six. I shit you not. I won't tell you a lie. But if you want the truth, be careful questions you ask, you may not like the answers you may answer or get, because the answers have truth in them. They carry lots of stinging with pain.
I'm going to share 2 things with you, and hopefully this will be before the battery dies. 2 things. Facts. Number 1, my grade school teacher told me that she saw something really great in me, and I never knew what it was. When I was that age, I used to fantasize about killing myself, only to
Find peace.
Well, find peace, but I wanted life. My fantasy was this: I felt that no one cared about me, so my fantasy was that that I would die, and then everyone would miss me, and everybody would love me, and everybody would cry for me, and somehow, some way, they made a mistake, and like I came back to life, and you know, I'm still that way today. I'm always seeking validation. One of my ex-wives is like, hey, you know, if you want to know Ed, you just got to give him a pat on the back. And there's something to be said for that. And I think hopefully today that's what we did here, is I gave you a pat on the back. Secondly, this teacher told me, she said, I don't know what it is about you. And this was in 1982 when I graduated grade school in Chicago. And her name is Virginia Roble. And boy, we went, man.
She's a good woman.
She was, she is in death a great woman.
She changed your life in the most noble way.
She changed it, and I used to hate her. And I used to
misunderstood her.
Yeah, I talked behind her back. I played pranks on her. But yet this woman brought me into the life that I know, and she said this. She said, I don't know what it is about you. You're a very odd young man, but you're going to solve the next Watergate.
Well, see, the thing is, I can do far more than most people could possibly imagine. But see, the thing is, when I was in Florida, Sarasota, Florida, I've been hiding myself in plain sight for all since I was born.
So I'm gonna. So let's do this.
Knew.
Let's do this real quick. I'm gonna stop the video only because the battery is gonna die, and I should be better prepared next time. But this is just a absolute chance, unscripted encounter. So I'm gonna stop the video. Can you say goodbye to everybody? And just maybe a parting
thought. The mighty hands of God guide you all in the right direction, because you're all gonna need it. Indeed you will. Things and times, you have to hold there and be there one another. Be sure money is not going to do that, only one another can. Amen. Good day.
Thank you, Victor.